Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a new video and something new on the channel. As most of you know from the last video, naval action for me has become a dead game, and therefore I'm looking for a stopgap. I'm looking for something to scratch that itch of naval conflict in the age of sail. I haven't quite found it yet, but I have something that sort of scratches the itch, and that is this game. World of Sea Battle is the name. I'm going to do a quick video on it here. I will make a few more videos running down some of the details of it, because I can't cover it too quickly, honestly. But I'll give you a quick rundown in this one, and then we'll go into how to install the game, how to get it, and some of the more specifics of it. But name of the game, World of Sea Battles. It's a free-to-play game already there. Some of you are going to go, ugh, and I understand that. Why? Oh, I just got a mail. But hold on that part. There is free-to-play. I'll say it right off the bat. It's free-to-play with whatever that entails. I mean, you can buy premium stuff to get better resources and stuff like that. Of course, no game is truly free to play in the sense that there's always some sort of enticement for you to spend money on the game. That's fair enough, but it's not like a certain RPG style game that came out recently that also claimed to be free to play with a pretty heavy paywall. Anyway, I'll show you the details of the premium and whatever you can buy in the game in a later and separate video. But it is free to play. It's a small Russian development team. Again, some of you are going to stall on the word Russian, but let's keep world politics out of it for now. I think they've done a cracking job so far on the graphics and the gameplay and stuff like that. Anyway, we are in the port that you start in here, and in a Cerberus ship, and those of you that are used to naval action will know that ship. But we're in a port called Santa Marta, and that's the port you basically start in, or at least that's the one where me and my friends started in. Quickly, the port features are, as you know from many other games, you got access to different things in here. It's very Age of Sail specific. Got a shipyard for where to craft ships, obviously. There's going to be a lot of parallels to naval action, and there's going to be some very different areas. But I'll try not to compare it too closely to naval action, because it's not a comparison to naval action I'm trying to do. These are two different games, even though some similarities may be found. But shipyard to build stuff in. You got a workshop where you can craft items like repairs and parts for your ships and more ammunition and stuff like that. Got a trading house. Obviously, you can trade with the port, and you got the global player-controlled market of the auction house. You got the store, which is where you buy the real cash items like premium and blah 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 blah. You have a tavern, which is basically where you get missions from the NPC factions. Other than that, you got an arena. There is arena combat in here, so you don't have to go searching for PvP action if you want it. You can go straight into the arena, queue up for some of the different game modes in the arena. I'm not going to go into what the arena has now. That's probably more for a separate video. There's treasures to be found, which is specific missions or scenarios you need to do and complete, which will basically is a different dungeon run, or a specific dungeon run if you want to call it that, that you can do either with a few friends or solo. You can go straight out into the world, or you can leave the port by some of the lighthouses. The game is a single server, so it's one global server for everyone. And it is PvP, but with the ability to enable PvE. Or actually, it's PvE where you can enable PvP differently. I'll show you what I mean. First up, we'll go into the map. And most of you will see already, this is not the Caribbean. This is not nowhere in the world, actually. I need to supply a warehouse, sorry. Basically, you have a square map here, fantasy map, random ports around indicated by the great anchor icons. We're down here in Bay of Santa Marta, and the ports can be controlled by factions and guilds. Blah 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 blah. Around here is basically the new player area, and the further away you go, the harder the enemies become. And within this red circles, it's PvP danger. You can go over the edge, and that's also automatically going to enable PvP. And if you see over here, the end of the sea, there be dragons and other stuff. So that's the world map you have to play with. It doesn't take that long to sail from like here to here. 15 maybe if the wind is right, so you can probably traverse the map in about an hour. Other than that, a lot of features in the port. I'll show you them to you in a separate video. I'll go more into the details. Now the combat and the maneuvers are a bit more arcadey than those used to more simulaty games such as naval action. Again, I don't want to draw too many comparisons, but it's not the same control. It's WASD and your mouse button. That's it. You don't have to control sails as such. There's no manual control of your yards and stuff like that. What we do have is strength and integrity of your ship. That's just overall hit points of your ship. That's it. No sidearm or no side and structure or different compartments and stuff like that. It's just 1 HP for the ship. Basically, that's your life. You got your inventory, obviously, which has a maximum capacity, or ammunition you can access globally, but otherwise warehouse can only be accessed in that port specifically, and yada yada yada, repair items, stuff like that. I'm just gonna empty this before we go. We're gonna keep those. Repairs are done by wood and fabric. We need to keep some of that in. Crew, we'll get back to that. Weapons, you can allocate weapon to specific slots here. Now, other games you generally assign to a deck or a side or a specific facing. Here you can assign each specific gun, except for your swivel guns as far as I know, up to a maximum of whatever the ship can hold. So we've got stern guns. Now it also gets a bit more arcade slash fantasy. Let's call it Sea of Thieves mentality a bit, because the ships we have, or the cannons we have on the back of the ship, are triple bombards. So 3-shot rotating barrel cannon kind of things, and yeah. There's also cannons that shoot fire and stuff like that. So it, as I said, it's not a historical, it's not a simulation, it's a bit more of arcadey. If you want to describe it, it's basically a mix of naval action, World of Warships, and Sea of Thieves. Probably be my comparison there, but it might not be accurate. Anyway, weapons, you can assign them yourself. Crew, you have a selection of crew. You can select them depending on what parameters you have. You got boarders with or units with a better than boarding. You got some that are quicker to load and unload cargo and have more life. You got some that improve your gunnery or reloading and repair, blah blah blah, stuff like that. They will die. You can send them off on mission. They will die during accidents or boarding, or if you forget them because you sent them on a mission, and blah blah blah. Upgrades, you can have up to 5 upgrades on most of the ships. Some can have 6, and you can select from a huge list of different upgrades here, very similar to some of the upgrades that we found in a game like Naval Action. You can also upgrade your upgrades at least once you get XP on them, and then at least at last, when it comes to the ships, there are the possibility to add visual features like a new figurehead, and these can of course be bought in the shop. Enough rambling. That's the port we got. We need ammo. Other games we've been playing on the channel, you don't have to reload anything but specialty ammo. Here you do have to reload each and every damn shot you want to use. So make sure you stock up on ammo before we go. Let's just craft some ourselves. We got the resources to do so. Just did that. I'm not going to go into the details. Such. You can also see here I'm loading round shot, chain shot, and some powder rockets for my swivel guns. But there are more specific Sea of Thieves style shots like Saxon's exploding sparkly shot, a phosphorus spread shot for the swivel guns. You got powder kegs and flaming barrels and phosphorus barrels you can drop behind your ship to explode. We've got iron patches as repairs and other consumables up here, which is where the the warship kind of thing comes in. Anywho, one feature I really like is the missions. You go into the tavern, you talk to someone, you pull them to run onto him, and then you can go out. See on the map where you want to go. You can right click, set a waypoint. That is a feature I missed a heck of a lot in naval action. And usually when you need to leave, press the spacebar, and that's how quick it is. Alright, the wind is going to be in our face, so I'm going to turn around here. And we're just going to go out, quickly have a look at the world, and just quickly talk about the controls. Now, WASD and D obviously turns the ship. W sets the sail. 3 sets of sail, or 3 sail settings going forward, and then there comes the gaining part. Now we remove all the sails, we'll come into a full stop, or we can press S one more, and we can actually reverse our ship. Again, bit gamey, but it's needed sometimes for the controls. Anyway, going forward, if you go full speed, full sails, you cannot fire your guns. You simply cannot control and maneuver. Design choice here. So you need to go either at battle sails or medium sail setting, call it what you want, and or at the slowest setting. If you want to repair up, you need to go at the slowest setting as well. You can't zoom around. Just gonna pick up a strand of people. Now it is one big open world, and what you see here is all the players around us, all the ships around us, which are indicated by the red across their face or on top of the ships. Those are players. It's blue, it is NPCs. Pretty simple. Now you'll see the NPCs called like Salty Dog, Make Silver, Murderer, Pieces of 8, stuff like that. Those are NPC factions or teams, more or less, and you can be a complete asshole to one team and the other teams won't care. But if I attack Salty Dog, other Salty Dog ships will try and attack me to retaliate until I'm sunk. Blah 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 blah. But you can see here already we're just out. We don't have to initiate any type of combat if we don't want to. We could just fire at these ships. However, these are follower ships for these two players. We're gonna find a different target. Alright, come off with the wind. Use E to get our binos out. We got a landlubber ahead of us. Let's see, try and catch up to him. I'm going to engage him in combat. So there's no loading screen for combats and stuff like that. You can go straight into them. Chat function, you can enable and disable the chat. If you're not in a specific English-speaking guild, you're probably going to have to deal with whatever's going on down in the bottom left corner down here. It is a Russian game, and there's a lot of call it Eastern European language going on in the general chat, and you can just disable it on P. You have direct comms here, and other features. Fish, if we want to, we can pick up lost cargo. We can just hop in and out of other people's combats if that's what we want. Right now, we just want to catch up to this landlubber here. There's a lot of stuff going on, and I'm just basically just talking away what happens. While we catch up to him, if you look at the map, see these green and red pick for stuff like that. That's productions I've set up, like mines or rum production and stuff like that. You can have your own little hideout and alright. So each of the circles is the aiming point of my cannon. You can change what type. You can fire single shots, or you can obviously find a barrage, and you'll just do damage to the ship. As soon as you do damage to an NPC, he will return fire. Some of them will attack you if you've shown aggression to that specific team earlier. Oh, that's a bad shot. Fire the deck or the assault guns. So this is where the a bit more arcadey stuff comes in. If you're used to naval action, this will seem so much more arcadey. If we can initiate a body, but basically just run around, shoot, shoot, shoot. And you saw there earlier was him dropping a an explosive barrel behind. Once they're sunk or boarded, you can loot them. And you get resources, you get XP, and boom. It doesn't always explode, they can sink, but I shot him after he was sinking and that made him explode. So, let's get up here. Slowly, 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 slowly. You, all the loot that we can have. Hold space to take it all. Yes, please. And let's get back to port. So now we have a bit of stuff in the hold. Got some fresh meat, we got some wreckage, and we got some money and some extra. All right, that's the short show of the combat here. Top left, you can see my character. With each rank, you gain skill points. You can use them on the 3 skill trees. There's something for better use in the open world, something that will help you battle. Something that will help you as a crafter. Pretty self-explanatory stuff. You can always track your XP. You can see how much money you got. And the money you'll use for more ammunition, better guns, better ships, repairs, and yada yada yada. Alright. Play me. Now you see that he's firing as well on the enemy ship. So basically now there's 2 of us engaging him at the same time. And if we help each other to sink him, we can share the loot. So you can't directly loot steal. If you decide to try and loot steal or take all the loot for yourself, it will initiate the PvP. And you and him will basically have to fight it out. Let's see if we can see it here. Need to get within loot range. Alright. So we view, take everything. Alright, we did the damage to him, so we can see him. Otherwise, it'll say take your share or fight for more. And if you fight for more, you and him will have your PvE protection disabled, and you can fight PvP. Now, on the PvP side, right now, if you watch these flags I've got showing up here, the what with the blue crosses, those are the PvP flags. As long as you use those, you cannot engage enemies, you cannot do friendly fire, or you cannot engage other players, but you can only engage NPCs. Sorry for the coarse voice. What you can do in port is select a specific set of sail or flags to fly, and they are going to determine whether you're able to engage in PvP or able to attack, and different bonuses. I'll show them here. Quick load time to get into port. Alright, flags, you can see them down here. I've set peace flags or PvE flags right now. These are here. Full PvP protection, but you can attack non-player ships. You can set trade flags, which is PvP protection need ports and islands, but and you lose less items whenever you get sunk. I'll get back to that. You get 20% less experience and loot for battles, and NPC pirates will attack you. You can set a pirate flag, which will give you 20% more XP and loot and more cargo when you board an enemy ship. but your activity will be visible on the world map, so other players will know where on the map you are, or not you specifically, but where somebody with a pirate flag is. Wall flags are used, as far as I know, to raise and reduce tension in certain areas, especially around clan-controlled areas and ports. Privateers, blah 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 blah. Highest name, less XP, blah blah blah. And there's some restrictions to it. Can only be taken different waters, blah blah blah. Okay. Right now, if I get sunk in the open world by an NPC right now, I will lose 40% of whatever is in my hold here. That's it. I'm not going to lose anything else. Besides that, some of the ships have what is called an integrity. You don't lose your ship directly upon sinking, but some ships have what is called an integrity. Basically, it's uses or lives or revives or whatever for that specific ship. Some ships have 4 times it can be sunk before it's useless to you. Some have 7, 6, that kind of thing. So you won't lose your ship specifically on the first sinking, even in PvP or PvE. But over time, if it gets sunk repeatedly, at some point it will become useless to you. Same with your upgrades. So that was the whole upgrades do take damage over time from use and damage. You have to repair those, make sure they work. You can see here my my reload thing here, the ammunition carriages. 1056 volleys remaining before it's ineffective. Yep. I'm starting to think that's the first rundown here. We've been going for about 20 minutes with just me ranting. It's a game with simple combat and a bit more of an arcadey approach to the combat. It doesn't necessarily make it bad. It's just something to consider before jumping in. So, we got missions, we got islands where we can produce stuff. I'm not going to go there now. I'll show you all this in later videos. But right now, this is just a bit of an introduction. Go check it out if you want to. World of Sea Battles. Quickly run down the cons of this game are it is a free-to-play game, so there are incentives to buy stuff. I haven't bought anything. It's not a promotion account or anything like that. Nothing received from the developers here. It's just me showing it off. But it is free to play, and there is, if we go quickly into the store, you can buy decorations, you can starter accounts just to get your head start and such. I haven't found anything that directly makes it pay to win, and that's very important for me to say. There is, if you do the subscription and the premium, you get a reload buff on your third consumable item, but that's the only thing so far I've seen that where paying for something directly affects combat and stuff like that. And it's the consumables are not repairs, but it's temporary boosts to armor, it's dropping items and stuff like that. So there's a slight effect on combat, but it's not going to save you or make it like free-to-play players cannot affect you and stuff like that. And there are other sorts of items. You get more XP and blah, blah, blah. So that's one of the cons. Another area where it does lack a little bit. One thing is that the chat is in Russian. But you will, if we just go quickly into my warehouse, most of the stuff has translations into English. And it's going to be very clear what it is and what it does. However, there are stuff like this where they haven't gotten to it. It's a small development team, so I can live with it. But like, this is an item. What is it? I don't know. I don't speak whatever's on the screen right now. I can't read it either. And there's no in-game translation option, as far as I'm aware of. So there are things you have to figure out on your own where translations are lost. But if you're, well, generally have an IQ above room temperature, you should be fine. some sections on the map where whatever's going on here, I have no idea. There's a few sections in the in your log that doesn't make any sense because it's in Russian. Other stuff has been translated, so they're working on it. One thing where it becomes the most annoying part is actually in the installment or on their forums, because that's mainly in Russian. I'll show you that in a separate video. So that's basically the negatives, if you want. It's a free-to-play game with the incentive to buy stuff, but it's still, so far, I haven't found a paywall. Lack of translations and the arcadey style of combat. If that's not for you, well, then it's not for you. It doesn't make it a bad game. It just means it's not for you. And just be aware, it's not naval action. The pros of this, however, is the same. It's free. I do also think that the game has a lot of depth to the way they do things with crew, with missions, with make sure you bring your ammo. You need to feed your guys if you go into the cold. You need to supply your ports, the way you craft ships, which I'll show later. And this is, I think it has a lot of good depth where a game like naval action was actually lacking. The map is a bit smaller, and it makes it a bit more faster when it comes to travel times than we may be used to in other games. There's a huge amount of players actually playing it. Right now we got just shy of 1,200 players online, and I've seen all the way up to almost 2,500 players online doing random bits across this map alone, and no lag on the server from what I've seen. The details are good. It looks very good graphically, in my opinion. I mean, this is affected by my settings, but generally I think the water looks good, the island looks good, and the ships themselves as well. So yeah, so far so good. And there's some very good details and clever thinking. Like if I want to do a good screenshot and I want my UI to go, I just hold down my right mouse button and whoop, here we are. Few things have been missed, like the arena and the letter down there, but overall I'm pretty happy. UI and the encyclopedia explanations are pretty good. Most have been completely translated as well. Yeah, so there's a lot of pros to it, and if you can get around the combat, I think definitely is worth the shot. Down below, I'll link to the installment site, and I'll shortly do a video on just how to install it. There's two ways of doing it, but basically it's just a matter of downloading a zip file, unloading that zip file, run the exe, and then you'll join the game pretty up and you register your account. I've found no issues with it. I've had no virus warnings or anything from the times I've screened it and stuff. So, none of that. Down below also is, if you want to check it out or want to come play alongside, I'll put my friend code down below, but it is 169354. Want to come play along? That's my friend code. So, quick first look at WoSB battles. There's so much more to cover in it. I'll probably do a few streams, but this is just a first look. Let's call it a teaser of half an hour, quick one. And next one up is going to be a quick video on how to install the game, and after that we'll look more on the gameplay in depth. Until next time, stay safe and make sure to game